Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Sunday Night Live with me, Jonny Lipsham, here at jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk, here in Scotland, capital of the world, capital of the solar system, capital of the Milky Way, capital of the galaxy, the universe, and everything in it, including shrews and pygmies. Anyway, I like to start with something weird. Okay, great. Thank you, Boris. Appreciate that. Yeah, Boris, have no fear. That is a known issue, and it has been reported to our QA department and to our developers. They are investigating it, and as soon as it is fixed, it will be fixed. It does not automatically mean that it will be fixed in the very next release, but as soon as it is able to be fixed, the fix will be implemented, and you'll see it in the release in which it is fixed. Other than that, there's not a whole lot more I can say, other than they know about it. All right, let's get to the top of the chat, and we'll see that I think it was Billy who was first in the door, and we've got just Bob here as well, and we've got Christopher Mrechna, whose name I'm getting better and better at. Who has a really good question, which I'm going to deal with. And we got Boris Dancy here as well. And we got John Hawk. And we got my awesome sponsor, Alps Media LLC. And we got Neil Thompson here as well. We got Kevin from Kevin's Guitar Stories. And we got Cal Druziak. And we got Keith from Radio Tuck Trumpet. And we got Mike Johnson from Music to Motion. And we got Christina over in Denmark. Which is like absurdly late for you. It's like 1 a.m. You crazy person. But I'm glad you're here. It's awesome. And who else do we have here? We have Paul Morgan and I'm seeing if I've missed anybody. And we got Pepper Up to Music as well. And we got the W5 family here too, which is awesome. And I don't think I missed anybody. And if I did, please say hello again. And this time stick at Jonny Lipsham Studios before it, and I will definitely see it because my name will appear in red. Incidentally, that's the best way to ask a question. If you've got a question for tonight's show and you want me to make sure I don't miss it, type at Jonny Lipsham Studios at the start of your question and then write the text of your question. I know it does take away from the 200 characters that you get for writing a question, so you're going to have to think carefully about how you word your question, but it'll help me. It will help me, excuse me. It'll help me quite a bit to differentiate your questions from general chat. So, moderators, please help the good folks in the chat with that and making sure that that happens and making sure that if a question is overlooked that I get to see it. I would appreciate that. Thank you. All right, so I think that's everybody that I have name checked. If you are here and you are watching, and you would love to say hello in the chat. You would also love to ask a question, but there's no chat available for you to do that with because it's locked off. You need to subscribe if you would like to join in the fun and join in this community and get to know these awesome people that are here and also ask your question. So please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, select all notifications so you don't miss a thing that I do on this channel. And also give it 5 minutes and the chat will be open to you and you can ask your question away and you can say hello and all of that. I love the interaction that I get from my audience. I prefer it over, kind of trying to figure out what to do every week because, this show is about you guys. It's about you, it's about your questions, about things that you want to know about Studio One, about recording, mixing, mastering, all of that fun stuff. So please do get that into the chat if that's what you would like to do. I would appreciate it a lot. And subscriber-wise, we're doing good. We are about 5,060, more or less. So we are cruising towards 5,100, which is great. I would very much like to get to 6,000 subscribers, and when we do, we will do another awesome giveaway for sure. Now, I know that the last giveaway we did was kind of only US only. I would like to do another giveaway that is just for UK and Europe folks to take part in. So, yeah, I would love to sort that out. But I don't have a UK-based sponsor I'm able to work with for that. So, but I will figure something out to be able to do that. Neil says, at long last, I have made it here for Sunday Night Live. Neil, you are awesome, and I'm glad you're here. And I'm glad you're talking to cool people here about your guitar. And I'm glad to hear that you've got it all set up again so you can play it again after a wee interlude, shall we say. That's what we'll call it. We'll call it a wee interlude. There you go. But I'm glad you're up and running again with your guitar. That's fantastic. All right, so let's get to tonight's questions. Now, I have one from Just Bob who emailed this to me because it was a question that he thought of on Wednesday during the Songwriting Simplified show, and he realized that the question was aimed more towards Sunday Night Live. So he emailed it to me so he wouldn't forget it, and neither would I forget it. So we'll get to that question, and then we will also get to Christopher's question, which is it's the pinned question. By the way, if you want to get your question pinned to the top of the chat, you got to get in first with the question. The first question always gets pinned. So if that's what you would like, I can do that. But you got to help me out by getting your question in super fast. All right, so we got 20 people watching. We got 9 likes. So it would be nice if we could increase the number of likes to be the same as the number of viewers. That would be awesome. That helps me a lot. And it because the YouTube algorithm then recommends this to their homepage, and then hopefully we get some more folks coming in here. So also, if you like what I do here, please do share with your friends as well. If you've got other friends who are songwriters, composers, arrangers, or they're musicians, and you think, yes, this is going to be good for them, then share. Please do share this show and share the link to it and get them in here. And if they got questions, we can ask and we can answer their questions. And also they get to know all the wonderful people that are here, which is great. It's taken me about 5 years to build a really cool it is little. I'd like to grow it bigger, but it is a wee little community at the moment. And it's kind of nice that it's little, but I would like to grow it a wee bit more. So please do that. That would be great. I would appreciate it. All right, so let's get to Bob's question. So he says, is there a way to set up MIDI to only write notes in the scale you are working inside the editor view, the note editor view? For example, playing an A chord and only wanting the notes in the scale to be written. This way eliminating writing bad notes when trying to make an individual notes as melody. This could be really helpful for those of us who may not be very good at keyboard playing. If you can do this, what else can be done? Note extension, perhaps being able to pick a scale like Lydian, Dorian, etc., etc. Yes, he says, I hope this last one makes sense. Yes, it does, and this can be done. This is good news. I'm going to show you this. And then we'll get to the other wee question. Hang on just one moment, because I need to change over my song to this one, and then we'll take a look. And there I am. I've popped up. All right. So in this song, this actually goes to answering a little bit of Christopher's question, which I'm going to get to in just a moment. But let's get to this Just Bob question first. All right. So let's double click here to create an event, and then let's double click it again. Now you will see if over on this panel on the side here, you will see that there's this little keyboard. And if I click on this checkbox here, I can change not only the scale, but the type of scale. And there's a few to choose from. You've got chromatic, major, melodic minor, harmonic minor, natural minor, major pentatonic, minor pentatonic, blues, Dorian, mixed, Lydian, Phrygian, major triad, minor triad. Not quite so many modes represented as I would like to see, but they've nailed the 3 most common. I would like to see Lydian here as well, and I have requested that, and hopefully they will they will implement that in the future. But yeah, we got blues, Dorian, Mixolydian, and Phrygian, and then triads. And of course, pentatonic scales, which are very important. And of course, chromatic and major, and then melodic and harmonic minors, and the natural minor scale as well. So those are all cool. So in this case, I have set this to C Dorian. But you could set this to C blues if you want for this particular example, because it's basically just a vamp on a C dominant chord. So either will work. Dorian will work. Mixolydian will work just as well. So why don't we select that? And now you'll notice that some of the notes change. See how each note here has a blue line at the bottom of it, and at the bottom of the black notes you'll see there's a blue line as well. So what this means is if I start entering notes, notice now I cannot enter a B natural. I can only enter a B flat. And it won't let me enter an A flat. And it won't let me enter a G sharp either. And it's not going to let me enter an E flat. See? So basically the keyboard is completely locked to the C Mixolydian scale. Now, the tricky part is if you want to change it. What am I doing here? There we go. If you want to change it, that is not quite so easy. Let's say I'm happy with the first four notes being C dominant or C Mixolydian. So let's then say I want to use C blues. So I now need to change it to C blues. And then I can go back to my pencil tool and again, it is completely locked. I cannot change the notes at all. All right, so now, how do you get it to change back so that this little panel opens up? Because this is the first thing that you're going to find that you might find a little bit tricky. So I've done this part in C blues. Let's now go to bar 6 and let's go for Dorian mode. And let's go and stick some notes in here. Okay, now notice the keyboard's gone. What do we do? How do we get out of that? We want to do this last measure in chromatic scale. Okay. So how do we get this panel back? Simple. You go back to the pointer tool and you click once in this empty area. And look, the keyboard comes back. And now we can change this back to chromatic. And now we can enter any note we want. All right, so I hope that answers that question for you, Bob. So it is, the workflow is a little bit on the clunky side, but it definitely works. You can do what you want to do. So you can lock it for each chord if you want. So if your first measure is an A major chord and you only want to use the A major pentatonic scale, you can do that. And then let's say your next chord is F sharp minor. So you go, okay, my next bar, my next measure is going to be F sharp minor, so I can use F sharp Dorian. So you just do what I just did and select F sharp Dorian, and then you're just writing notes that belong to that scale and that scale only. Now, the caveat here is you're not going to be able to do any chromatic passing notes. You're not going to be able to do any enclosures, which are important for being able to link one scale to another nice and seamlessly. Now you can do stepwise motion, but things like chromatic enclosures, which is basically taking a note here, note above, note below, that's an enclosure. That's an enclosure around a G. So little things like that you won't be able to do, but other stuff such as stepwise motion you'll be able to do no trouble. All right, so that answers. I sound Australian there. I don't know what's going on. That answers that question. So let's close this. And let's get rid of that because we don't need that and it's going to sound fecking awful. So let's remove track and instrument. All right, so now to Christopher's question, for which I need to scroll up a wee bit to see it. And he says, if you don't already have a topic for tonight, how about a demo on putting loops into a project in time and then playing along with them in time? All right, so I have already kind of made a start on this just to get the bare bones basics down. But if I go over to this loop section here, if I click on this little tag button here, this opens up all the styles, all the instruments, and then different characters. And then all your matches will appear in this section at the bottom. All right, so in this case, I've gone for funk and guitar, mainly because I did that for drums and I did that for bass as well. So this is what I have so far. All right, so we got a loop here. Now, I know that that is definitely going to fit. The problem here is it's in B minor. And everything else we've got is in C, so it's going to clash. For example, if I was just to play this, doesn't work. Doesn't sound so good, but we know that the vibe of it and the rhythm of it does. So we will drag this into the song and watch what we're going to do. With the event selected, I'm going to go to the inspector and I'm going to drag this section up and I'm going to transpose it up one semitone and listen to this. Bit on the loud side. All right, we'll take that. So let's duplicate that by pressing D on the computer keyboard, and now we've got a bunch of loops of that. All right, now, what else do we have? Now, we're limited by what loops are available. All right, so these are, I'm basically only doing loops that are available in Studio One. Okay, I'm not grabbing loops from external loop libraries because that would not be fair. So let's remove guitar and let's go and see if there's something organ-like available. What's this one? Okay, that kind of sounds like it might well fit. So we'll grab that as well. And we'll just drop that back a little bit. Now what's going on here? Why has that not changed with the tempo? Because it's MIDI. That's strange. That's weird. I don't know why that has happened. I know it says 75 BPM, but it's a music loop, so it's MIDI, so it should stretch. And I don't know why it hasn't. I don't know why that has happened. Yeah, strange. I would have thought because it was MIDI, it would just automatically shift itself. But this has not happened here. Yeah, none of that is in time, and I don't know why. Let's go and see if we can fix this. Yeah, okay, so this one ain't gonna work. Okay, so we'll abandon this because it doesn't work, and that's fine. We'll just remove track and instrument. And so, you know, sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. And it is just what it is. And we'll accept that. Do we have any brass? No, we don't have any brass. Do we have any woodwinds? No, we don't have any woodwinds either. That's cool. All right, so I've got basically guitar, bass, and drums in here, and that's fine. So I can do the next part of the question, which is to play along with it, which is what Christopher was asking. So let's turn the click off. Maybe we can put our own hand part in here. Something like that. So let's create a track, and we'll call this Hammond, and we'll make sure that the input is set to input right, and we'll whack it in. Why not? Okay, let's give ourselves some kind of count in, shall we? So we start right. I'll take that. Now, there's a weird little note that I pressed here. Right there. And I'm otherwise happy with that. And I could go on and I could build this track up even more. And we could actually just use the chord track to change chords. So I could repeat all of this. In fact, let's do that. Let's just go Control A, D. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to open the chord track. And we're going to make this section a C7. And we'll make this section here. We'll make this F7. All right, so we want this track here to follow. And then we want this track here to also follow. There we go. And we also want this one to follow. Okay, that's weird. I don't know what's going on there. But that guitar has just suddenly gone horribly out of tune. Fixed. Okay, it looks like the bass is not followed. There we go. All right, I kind of like that. Let's maybe stick some piano on top of this, right? Oops. I've set that up incorrectly. Oh, what happened there? Ah, there it is. That should be input right. And we'll turn that down. And then we'll bring that down to the bottom. Something like that. The piano does not need to be complicated here because the Hammond part is doing all of the complicated stuff, and then the guitar is really quite busy, so the piano is just going to add some color. So let's try that. Cool. All right. Okay, let's get a little bit of separation out of these tracks here. So, let's see. Changed my mind about the panning there. And there we have it, guys. There you go, Chris. That is how we do that. A few loops and then a couple of extra tracks just layered on top. Mostly because we couldn't actually find a loop that we really actually wanted. So sometimes you just have to do that. And there. And that gives you at least 16 bars worth of something. There are other ways in which you can do it. For example, if you have, I'm going to go back to Studio One for a second. If you have any of the UJAM instruments, let me just close up the Presonus ones so you can see them. I've got Rowdy, which is kind of a bass instrument, and then I've got Fat, VD Fat, which is a virtual drummer, and then I've got VG Sparkle, which is a virtual guitar player. So we could create a totally different song with just these three instruments, which could be quite interesting. We're only halfway through the show, so yeah, why not? Let's just do it. Let's go new song, and we'll keep all those as they are. And this time we will go and grab the virtual drummer. And we'll also grab Rowdy, the virtual bassist. And we'll also grab the virtual guitarist. Now, I have the virtual bassist Rowdy and the Sparkle, but I haven't really used them a whole lot, so I don't actually really quite know exactly how they work. So this is going to be entirely pure experimentation. And I'm just going to pick some grooves at random. And we're going to slow the tempo down. What else we got here? Let's keep it, relatively simple. because we don't know what we're going to get with the other instruments loops wise. So always best to keep things simple in my view. So again, we're just going to start with 4 measures and we'll work our way down. So let's loop this. And we'll get the bass thing open now. How this works, I'm not quite sure, but we'll just try something here. Take it there are meant to be phrases here. If there are, there's nothing playing. Anyone know how to make the actual... Okay, we don't want that much distortion. Let's maybe... Come on, move. Thank you. Okay, there we go. Now it's kind of doing more what I want it to do. Okay, this could be a little bit... Let's try this. That drum groove was so Fresh Prince. It totally was, wasn't it? I bet you were all singing the lyrics as well, right? In West Philadelphia, born and raised. Yes, definitely. Let's see. Can we find something that's going to do the job? Swinging rock isn't really swinging as far as I can tell. Yeah, that could be interesting. Anybody see... Let's try this one. That seems to be exactly the same to me. Yeah, that's not really going with the kick drum. And that's kind of not really what I'm after either. Let's see. Yeah, this is going to be a little bit harder to figure out, I think. That's kind of interesting. There we go. We got it. It's only 2 measures though. But that's okay. Let's just duplicate that. Alright, let's just grab some guitar, shall we? And again, not really kind of entirely sure what I'm doing here, but we will figure this out. See. Let's go find something that works. Alright, everyone's probably getting really annoyed by that bass part, and that's okay. What I want is something a little bit more like... I'm on the wrong instrument here. Yeah, I want to be able to make some actual chords. It's not letting me make some actual chords. How do I do that? How do I make it so I make custom chords? And I've done this before and I can't remember how you do it. I don't know. I don't know why it won't let me do dominant chords. Let me go. Let's see if there's something. Oh, let's try this. See what's... Yeah. Something in a second. too loud? Okay. Oh, there we go. I forgot to put this on. All right, here we go. And there it is. There's 4 bars anyway. But yeah, you could keep going, and again, you could use you could duplicate this. And then you could duplicate that. And again, you could use the chord track and make that one C. Make this one, F7. And then make this one C7. And then make this one G7. C7. Now, of course, you've got to have them all follow the damn chord track. Follow chords. Oh, hang on. We don't want this one to follow the chord track, do we? We want that one off. We want this one. Oh, we've lost our bass. Don't know why that's happened. Don't know why the bass is not following the chord track now. That's weird. Anyway, we seem to have lost the bass part in on the F7, and I think we've lost it on the G as well. Yeah, I don't know why that is. It's probably shifted it down too far. But anyway, there you go. That at least gives you an idea of what you can do with loops either dragged in or using one of these UJam instruments. Now, my, Old School Funk and Soul said, still can't get my UJam plugins to install. Now, actually installing them is actually fairly straightforward. Now, I know you're having issues with that, and so that probably doesn't really help you. If they are the ones that have come with this the Sample Magic, Studio Magic thing that you get with PreSonus hardware, then what you do is you grab the product key from your My PreSonus account. You click on these items if they're in your My PreSonus account. You click on these in your account. That takes you to the product page. On there, you'll see a product key. You copy that product key. You go to the UJam website. You create a UJam account, and then you register that product key. And you do that for each of the items. And then once they're done, you download the installers. once you've downloaded the installers, then they should just work from there on. For me, it was that straightforward. Because, you know for me personally, I usually have issues installing third-party stuff most of the time. In fact, I had all sorts of issues trying to get Waves plugins to work. And in the end, I ended up just deleting the lot and starting again from scratch. And when I did it again from scratch, they installed correctly. Now, of course, I don't use Waves plugins for a variety of reasons anymore, so I don't even have them on my computer, apart from one, I think. And that's the True Verb, which is actually a really nice reverb. I really, really like it. It's a little bit old now. It may even be discontinued, but I still have it, and it still works in Studio One 6. So, but other than that, I don't have any Waves plugins at all. So, yeah. There you go. It'll be out of range. There you go. That's what I thought. For whatever reason, it's decided to shove it down rather than shoving it up. If it had shoved it up, it would probably be fine. And I could probably go and change that personally. But there you go. So a little bit of creating something with just loops dragged in and then adding some tracks. So I've kind of gone a little bit beyond what was asked of me a little bit by doing this with UJAM plugins. But the UJAM stuff is really cool. I've not really had any time to really touch them, to be honest, but I have them installed because they come with, or at least some of them do, come with the Studio Magic stuff that you get when you get a Personas interface, for example. When you register that, you get these. So that's why I've installed them, because I needed to make sure the install process that we've got recorded in our knowledge base articles actually works. So, we don't publish instructions in our knowledge base articles if they don't work. So if the instructions don't work, then we don't publish them. It's as simple as that. So we only publish them if they actually work. The thing to note is that each one of those instruments, they are VST2. So if you are on a machine where you have VST2, the VST2 service disabled in Studio One, for example, if you've just turned off the VST2 service because you're just like, I don't have any VST2 plugins. I'm never going to have any VST2 plugins because VST3 is the future. And you would be correct by and largely. Then that might be why these guys don't install. It's because they are VST2 plugins. So bear that in mind. If you have the VST2 service turned off, you're probably not going to see them, and they won't show up in the plugin manager. But that's the other thing to check, is check that once you've gone through the install process, check that they show up in the plugin manager. If they don't, then Studio One is not seeing where they are. And so you'll need to search your system for where they are and try and find them that way. All right, so we are at the end of the show, and Mike has an after-show Zoom queued up, which is cool. They are always a load of fun, and I will be along there for a short while. Just Bob says, I tip my hat to you tonight. Great show. As the kids say, it was fire. Thank you very much. Well, the last little while where I was trying to get these UJAM things to do what I wanted to, that's, be honest, mostly because I don't really know how they work. So the more I learn them, the more I figure out how they work, then the quicker it's going to be for me to work with them. But other than that, it's pretty easy to get something like that going. So thank you very much, everybody, for all of your support, all of your great questions. And I will see you all on Wednesday for Songwriting Simplified. And we are going to continue talking about melody writing, having just started that. And we started unpacking, breaking down melody writing into bite-sized chunks, we're going to continue that, and we're going to start talking about, because we started talking about using 5-note pentatonic scales as a starting point to get you moving in the right direction. Basically just, you know, ascending, descending phrases, that kind of thing. This is really, you know, this is taking you back to bare bones basic melody writing. So we're going to extend that. We're going to talk about modes a little bit on Wednesday. So if modes is your thing, get yourselves over back here, same time, same channel, just on Wednesday for Songwriting Simplified. And I'll see you all then. Good night, everybody.